She was the best person that one could have as a friend, and I was her best person at her wedding in 1979.
You know, as a person, she's very easy to like one-on-one. In private, she doesn't wear makeup.
It's that private person, you know, lives out there in that world just being nurtured by this idealism. But the public person is displaying herself.
Hillary Clinton learned to make some compromises. You can't necessarily show yourself fully.
I want to have this as a one-on-one conversation. Just you and me and about several hundred national press people.
Loyalists often talk about knowing the real Hillary Clinton, the generous, chatty, and at times downright goofy version. Today, that person is firmly obscured by her, quote, official candidate persona. But in fact, she was born to be the wary partner in the Clinton marriage, a trait that first revealed itself early on in her public life.
I always felt like that Hillary would see the dark side of people, and I don't mean that to be negative, but it means to me that she could see the foibles, perhaps the motives of someone a whole lot better than he could.
She is a genuinely warm person. There's a big difference between being a private citizen and running for office. The way you feel is people are really just out to find a little chink, find a little opening, and just dig it in there and see if they can't break the dam.
And see, here's another one that she's caring for her pastor there, you know. And
one recurring aspect of the real Hillary, according to these friends, is her public-minded idealism.
she's a wonderful struggler with that issue, very aware, you know, of the gap between idealism and practice.
This struggle became more difficult in the political heat of Washington, D.C. It was a change from the chummier politics of Arkansas.
She had many blows at the White House.
By the end of her time as First Lady, Mrs. Clinton's public armor was fully formed. Ed Matthews was her pastor in Little Rock, but was with Mrs. Clinton later during one of her most challenging times, the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
And I was in the breakfast with them at Washington when Bill, I guess, kind of made his first public announcement. And of course, we could all hear a pin drop as he was doing that. I do not recall seeing any facial expressions, certainly no tears. That's just not Hillary. I just kind of reached over and grabbed her hand, and she said, I knew this as of last night, but I don't know what I'm going to do.
Today, the vulnerable side of Hillary Clinton is afforded rare public display. One notable exception occurred during the memorial service for Diane Blair, which occurred at the University of Arkansas in July of 2000.
I think Hillary and Diane were just like sisters. I mean, Diane has a sister, but Hillary didn't have a sister.
The then First Lady's eulogy for her best friend is a rare example of Mrs. Clinton offering a less filtered view of herself in public.
Now, usually in facing a challenge like this, the first thing I would have done would have been to call Diane. How could anyone think of Diane and not think of those incredible, oversized, really unattractive glasses? Despite wearing them when she wasn't reading a thing, she would keep them on and sort of peer at you through them and over them.
But even in this moment, she maintained control. It was left to her husband, the president, who cried through his speech to provide the emotional high point of the service.
She is a real person. She's not a cardboard cutout. She's not a caricature of a woman. I don't think she offers herself up readily to have a piece of like Bill does.